Right now, you are surrounded by more people than any human in history. You live within reach of thousands of them. You pass hundreds on the street without a word. And tonight, statistically, you will feel more alone than almost any generation that came before you. That sounds like a modern problem. A phone problem. A city problem. But the real answer is far stranger. Because more than 50 years ago, a quiet government scientist built a paradise designed to hold every comfort a living creature could want. No hunger. No predators. No disease. No shortage of anything. And inside that paradise, he watched an entire society stop talking, stop caring, stop raising its young, and slowly, politely, go extinct. The paradise was built for mice. But he wasn't studying mice. He was studying you. His name was John B. Calhoun. He did not look like a man about to predict the 21st century. He was an ecologist from Tennessee who started out counting rodents in a barn behind his house in 1947. Curious why rat populations stopped growing long before they ran out of food. That one question consumed the next 40 years of his life. Through the 1950s and 60s, he built enclosure after enclosure, each one a controlled world, each one asking the same thing. What does abundance actually do to a society? And in 1968, at the National Institute of Mental Health in Maryland, he opened the door on his most famous creation. He called it Universe 25. It was a metal enclosure about the size of a small bedroom, engineered to be a mouse heaven. Unlimited food, unlimited water, perfect temperature, fresh nesting material. No cats, no hawks, no winter. The only thing Universe 25 could ever run out of was space. Calhoun did the math and estimated his utopia could physically hold around 3,000 mice. Then he placed 4 healthy pairs inside and stepped back to watch. What do you think happened? Most people guess the mice multiplied until they starved. That is not what happened. Food never ran out. Not once. Instead, something much quieter went wrong. At first, Universe 25 worked exactly as designed. The 8 founders explored, claimed territory, built nests. The population doubled every 55 days. Pups were born, raised, weaned. Mouse society ran on mouse rules, and the rules held. This golden phase lasted about a year. Then, around day 315, with the enclosure still nowhere near full, the growth curve bent. Doubling slowed from 55 days to 145. And the social fabric began to tear in ways that had nothing to do with food and everything to do with each other. Here is the detail most retellings miss. In a normal mouse world, a young male grows up, leaves home, and finds his own territory. That journey gives him a role, a place in the order of things. But in Universe 25, there was nowhere to go. Every territory was taken. Every social slot was filled. A generation of young mice grew up biologically perfect and socially unnecessary. There was no role left for them to step into. Think about what that means. Not poverty, not hunger, just no place where you are needed. The unneeded males gathered in the middle of the enclosure and gave up. They stopped competing. They stopped courting. They slumped together in listless huddles, erupting now and then into sudden, pointless violence against each other. The females of the same generation withdrew to the high nesting boxes and stayed there. And the violence bred more damage. Nursing mothers, stressed and harassed, began to abandon their litters. Some attacked their own pups. In parts of the enclosure, infant mortality passed 90%. Calhoun had seen an early version of this collapse in his 1962 rat experiments, published in Scientific American, and he had given it a name that still lands like a punch. He called it the behavioral sink. The point where crowding makes social behavior itself break down, and the breakdown becomes contagious. But the strangest creatures in Universe 25 came last. A final generation was born into the chaos and simply opted out of society altogether. They never fought. They never mated. They never raised young. They spent their entire lives eating, sleeping, and grooming themselves. Their fur was flawless because they never risked a single scratch. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. Perfectly healthy on the outside. Completely vacant on the inside. All behavior related to courtship, parenting, and community had simply been deleted. They weren't depressed in any way a camera could capture. They were immaculate, groomed, fed, rested, and utterly indifferent to every other living thing in their world. Sound familiar yet? After day 600, no pup survived to adulthood. The population peaked at 2,200, far below capacity, then slid downward, month after month, until the last mouse died. Universe 25 did not starve. It did not run out of room. It lost the ability to be a society. And Calhoun found something even darker in the wreckage. He took some of the beautiful ones and moved them into fresh, empty enclosures. A brand new world. A second chance. They still didn't mate. They still didn't build anything. The damage wasn't in the environment anymore. It was in them. Now, here is the twist. Because for decades, the lesson everyone took from Universe 25 was simple. Overcrowding destroys us. Newspapers ran the story next to photos of packed city streets. It became an argument against urbanization, sometimes even against entire groups of people moving into cities. But when the historian of science Edmund Ramsden went back through Calhoun's work decades later, he found that the popular lesson was almost exactly backwards. The mice were not destroyed by too many bodies. They were destroyed by too few meaningful connections. Calhoun's own data showed it. What collapsed first was never calories or square footage. It was roles, courtship rituals, parenting, territory, the thousand small interactions that tell a social creature who it is and why it matters. Density didn't kill the mice. Social disconnection did, while every physical need was still being met. Calhoun even had a phrase for it. He said the animals died a first death, the death of the spirit, long before the second death of the body. So what does a mouse enclosure from 1968 have to do with your life? Look around. You live in the most materially abundant environment humans have ever built. Food arrives at your door. Entertainment is infinite. Temperature is controlled. Predators are a rounding error. By every measure Calhoun could design into his utopia, you're living in one. And the symptoms he documented have a strange echo now. Young adults report feeling that society has no place for them. Rates of romantic partnership and parenthood are falling across nearly every wealthy nation. Withdrawal has a name in Japan, Hikikomori, hundreds of thousands of people who have retreated into a single room. And the digital version of the beautiful ones is one tap away. A life that is groomed, curated, flawless on the surface, and increasingly detached from the friction of real contact. None of this happened overnight, and none of it happened because people got worse. The political scientist Robert Putnam saw the early data decades ago, in his famous study Bowling Alone. Between the 1960s and the 1990s, Americans didn't stop bowling. They stopped bowling in leagues. Club membership, dinner parties, church attendance, union halls, card nights, all of it fell off a cliff in a single generation, while televisions moved into every living room. The infrastructure of casual human contact was quietly dismantled, one convenience at a time. By 2023, the situation was serious enough that the United States Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, issued a formal public health advisory declaring loneliness an epidemic. Not a metaphorical one, a measurable one with a body count. Is that a fair comparison? Be careful here. You are not a mouse. Human beings have language, culture, therapy, religion, art, and the stubborn ability to reinvent their own social rules. And no honest scientist claims Universe 25 predicts human destiny like a prophecy. But the underlying biology of the warning holds up frighteningly well. The neuroscientist John Cacioppo, who spent his career studying loneliness at the University of Chicago, showed that social disconnection is not a mood. It is a biological alarm, as real as hunger or thirst. Chronic loneliness floods your body with stress hormones, disrupts your sleep, weakens your immune response, and raises your risk of early death by a margin researchers have compared to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Your body treats isolation as an emergency, because for millions of years, it was one. Alone meant dead. Your nervous system never got the update that you can now survive alone. It just keeps sounding the alarm. And that reframes the entire experiment. Calhoun's mice were not punished for being crowded. They were punished for being unnecessary to each other. Every need was met, so no mouse needed another mouse. And a social brain that is needed by no one begins to shut down, no matter how comfortable the enclosure is. Convenience quietly removed every reason for contact, and contact was the thing keeping them alive. Which raises an uncomfortable question about your own enclosure. Every year, your world gets better at meeting your needs without involving another human being. You can work without co-workers, eat without a table, shop without a store, be entertained without a crowd, and be soothed without a friend. Each upgrade feels like freedom, and each one deletes a small, boring, necessary collision with other people. The line at the shop, the phone call instead of the text, the favor you had to ask a neighbor. Friction, it turns out, was never a design flaw of human life. It was the design. There is one more thing Calhoun found, and it's the part almost nobody quotes. He didn't end his career in despair. In later experiments, he built environments that encouraged rats to cooperate, to learn from each other, to develop what he called a compassionate revolution in behavior, and those societies did not collapse. His conclusion was not that paradise kills. It was that a species facing the death of the spirit can redesign its world, if it understands what actually went wrong. The mice couldn't do that. They couldn't see their own enclosure. You can. So tonight, when you're back in your perfectly heated room, with food a tap away and a glowing feed full of beautiful, flawless strangers, remember what really failed inside Universe 25. Not the food supply, not the space, the reasons to reach each other. Right now, you are surrounded by more people than any human in history. That was never the danger. The danger is needing none of them.